To me, one of the most exciting things about WrestleMania next year is the unpredictability of what the main events could be for night 1 and night 2. So let's break down some of the possible outcomes of what the WrestleMania main event could be next year in Vegas. Now, the Royal Rumble has yet to happen. We're very close to the Royal Rumble, but it hasn't happened yet. And, really around that time frame, you usually kind of get an idea or a hint like, okay, this is the direction they're going to go in as far as what the main event is going to be for night 1 and night 2, now that WrestleMania is 2 nights. And unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be a women's main event next year. I feel like, for the women to get back in the main event of WrestleMania, it has to be the superstars that are, one, big enough, and they have to invest into a storyline that feels big enough as well. And just based off the track record of how they booked the women's championship matches going into WrestleMania over the last couple years, I don't really see them putting that, in the main event of any spot for WrestleMania next year, especially with all the other options that I'm going to talk about. Now, I totally understand 1,000% just based off of WWE's logic. There technically should be a men's and a women's main event of WrestleMania every year, just based off the logic of them telling us every year whoever wins the Royal Rumble is guaranteed a main event match against any world champion of their choosing at WrestleMania. But that logic has not existed for years. For literal decades. You can check the receipts of all the Royal Rumbles through years and see it right there. In 2006, Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble. He wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania that year. It was John Cena versus Triple H. 2007, Undertaker won the Royal Rumble. He wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania that year. It was John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. Edge in 2010, he won the Royal Rumble. He wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania that year. It was the Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in the Streak vs. Career match. Bro, in 2018, both Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka both won the Royal Rumbles, and neither of them were in the main event of WrestleMania that year. It was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, which was a match that none of us wanted in the main event that year. So yeah, that logic has been dead for years. What the main event of WrestleMania is going to be is what is the biggest match with the biggest storyline possible. That's what it really is going to be. Now, with that out the way, let's talk about these possible main events that could happen next year. Before we start, please make sure to subscribe, like, share, turn on all notifications to be updated with pro wrestling content right here on this channel, and to be updated when we go live every single Sunday for the No Name Wrestling Podcast. You don't want to miss it, and check it out. We have always good discussions on the pod, and we do allow the viewers and subscribers to come on from time to time to have friendly debates with us. Mind you, friendly debates with us, have, friendly conversations and all types of stuff we do on the pod, man. We do game shows, trivias, all types of stuff. So make sure you check us out, man. If you love wrestling podcasts, you don't want to miss out on that one. Now, what could the main events of WrestleMania be next year? Well, John Cena is having his final WrestleMania next year, and there are some people that believe him versus Gunther could be a WrestleMania main event next year. Like, some people were thinking John Cena could win the Royal Rumble next year for the 3rd time and go on to possibly main event WrestleMania to become the 17-time world champion and beat Gunther. Now, I personally don't see it happening just based off of the last couple years they booked John Cena. He hasn't won a singles match since 2018. Last time he won a singles match was in Saudi Arabia at the Greatest Royal Rumble against Triple H. That's how long ago it's been, and Triple H is now fully retired. And John Cena at this stage, he's 47. He'll be 48 next year going into his retirement tour. And Gunther right now, you could say, is the best wrestler in the world. And John Cena is past his prime, past his peak. He's not Super Cena anymore. And I feel like for him to just come back and win a Royal Rumble match, which is one of the hardest matches to win, to then go on to WrestleMania to face who may be WWE's best wrestler, maybe the best wrestler in the world, and beat him, it's just not believable from any storyline perspective. I get he's John Cena, he is a legend, but storytelling matters. He could go on to face Gunther at WrestleMania, but I don't see any scenario where he wins. I feel like if they did proper baby steps where they build it up in time, like if they had Gunther versus Cena at SummerSlam, Gunther at that time frame will then be a world champion for a full calendar year, and they have plenty of time where they can give John Cena some big credible wins by beating some top contender opponents, from upcoming talent and some legends on the roster, where Cena could feel like, just a little bit of a portion of what Super Cena used to feel like. He won't fully get back there, but by the time SummerSlam comes around, if they properly give John Cena the credible wins he needs under his resume for this retirement tour, where you then can feel SummerSlam as a big match feel where John Cena has a chance to become the 17-time world champion, I think that would be a better bet than for him to just win the world title at WrestleMania. But Gunther versus Cena is something that has to be thrown out there because it's been thrown out there a lot. I'm going to throw out another scenario, and that is Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. Now, Now, yes, we don't know what the situation is with Brock Lesnar. I'm not even saying I want this match to happen, but this is a match people have been talking about, and Triple H has even said himself in a couple of interviews that when Brock Lesnar wants to come back, if he wants to come back, he can come back at any time. So I'm assuming the doors are open for Lesnar to return anytime he wants to. So I feel like this was a match that we've been talking about Gunther having for a long time. This would be a big, credible match for Gunther to have right here, and I could also see this being put in the main event spot if they're going to do it. Hear me out on this one. Think about this. Gunther versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a triple threat. Now, why would this be a thing? Well, CM Punk has already teased about going after the world title and wanting to become world champion again. He even name dropped Gunther at one point. Seth Rollins could always be thrown back in the world title scene because he is Seth freaking Rollins. And Punk and Rollins are bound to have a feud as well. They're bound to, start their storyline feud for next year. And I could maybe see them, to get them in the WrestleMania main event if they wanted to add the world title a part of it. Gunther is a big, big top star right now. And if they wanted to add Gunther a part of it because he is the world champion, this would be a huge obstacle course and a huge challenge for him. I could see a scenario where you get Gunther versus Rollins versus Punk in a triple threat where all these guys have a storyline connecting leading into WrestleMania for a bigger purpose. What about Seth Rollins versus CM Punk? Just title or no title, that could be a main event alone. Now we know for sure that was going to main event night 1 of WrestleMania this year before CM Punk got injured in the 2024 Royal Rumble, which was unfortunate because CM Punk still deserves and he is still owed the WrestleMania main event if you ask me. He should have got it at WrestleMania 29, but they took it from him just so they could do Rock versus Cena twice in a lifetime again, which wasn't as good as the once in a lifetime match, 28, and it was just not needed, but they had to do it because John Cena had to get that big win over The Rock that he should have got the first time and they should have never did the match again. But CM Punk is still owed and deserves the WrestleMania main event, especially back in 2013 when he had that WWE Championship reign. Him going to the WrestleMania main event that year just made the most sense, but it was taken away from him due to backstage politics and stuff. Well, now they got a chance to make that wrong a right, and I do believe they are going to give CM Punk the WrestleMania main event. I don't know if it's going to be next year or the year after, but I do believe he is going to get that main event spot eventually. Now, that's stuff for the World Heavyweight title. We got to move over to the WWE Championship, and you got to talk about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I mean, that is a match that is on the table right there. That is a match I think most of us are anticipating and waiting for, honestly. Like, a lot of us have been waiting for Cody versus Randy. Like, when's that going to happen? Is Randy going to turn heel? What are we going to get? Like, that is something that also needs to be discussed as a possible main event for either night 1 or 2 for next year's WrestleMania. What about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens? I mean, they're involved in this big storyline, and Kevin Owens has pile-drived Randy Orton and now Cody Rhodes as well. I could see a scenario where they maybe push this out for WrestleMania where they had the conclusion of this feud in a triple threat match. Like, I think the triple threat match is definitely going to happen. I personally think it's going to happen at the Royal Rumble, but if it doesn't, I could see a scenario where they do push it out to WrestleMania. This is just a little fun booking scenario. What about Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk? What if CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble and challenges Cody Rhodes? I do think there is an appealing story there to tell. If you go back and look at the promo segment earlier this year, in the beginning of the year leading up to the Royal Rumble, when CM Punk and Cody Rhodes were throwing shots, Cody Rhodes said that I'm more CM Punk than you, and CM Punk said I'm more of the American Dream than you. It was a masterful promo, and I really feel like there is a good story there to tell if they wanted to. Punk could win the Rumble and go to challenge Cody because not only he wants the main event of WrestleMania, but he wants Cody's spot. Cody's the top guy right now. He's number 1. CM Punk wants to prove he's still the best in the world. He's the number 1 guy, and by doing so, he's got to take out Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. The trilogy, Cody and Roman 3, is one that I think needs to be discussed a lot more, and honestly, I wouldn't hate this. I wouldn't be mad at this at all. I actually think I would love this. No bloodline, no interference, just 2 guys now going at it to prove who really is the QB1, who really is the top guy, and the story has different layers to it now. Like, I could see Roman Reigns having to do what Cody Rhodes had to do to get to WrestleMania all the years that Roman was champion by winning the Royal Rumble, and now Roman is the challenger instead of the champion, and Cody's now the champion, not the challenger, and Cody, wanting to prove that he is the top guy, Roman wanting to get his spot back. I could see a scenario where they do the trilogy. Plus, it's never been done before where you've had 2 guys main event 3 consecutive WrestleManias in a row with a storyline that still has a lot of appeal to it that I think fans would fully be invested into. I mean, hey, you got to talk about Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. I still think this match is bound to happen because they literally teased it the night after WrestleMania, like Rock saying, hey, whenever I come back and I'm ready to go. I'm coming after you, Cody, and we don't know when that's going to happen. We still don't know. It's unknown. It's up in the air. Like, we don't know The Rock's scheduling. Like, there have been many reports in the dirt sheets that The Rock is going to miss WrestleMania, and then, they're saying that he's going to be at WrestleMania, so we don't know what's going to happen. Like, The Rock's schedule's all over, but I definitely think he's going to be at WrestleMania next year, and the match with Cody Rhodes is a match that I could see them doing. I really honestly could see them doing that. Of course, Rock versus Roman, that is something that is on the table, and I think this is the most anticipated match that most people want to see next year at WrestleMania. Like, this honestly not only could be the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, this could be the biggest match in WWE history. This could be the biggest match in wrestling history. This is Roman Reigns versus The Rock. But I'm honestly glad we haven't got this match yet. And I'm going to tell you why. It could have happened last year at 39. We didn't get it. We know for a fact it could have happened this year at 40. It was right in front of our face. But pivoting for Cody to finish his story was the correct decision. That was the right thing to do. And I'm glad we haven't got it yet. Because that's add for The Rock to go into a different mode with a different character for different layers, and Roman Reigns to lose the championship and have different layers to his character. Like, honestly, if we got it at 39 or 40, it would have just been Roman as champion, Tribal Chief as the heel going up against babyface Rock. And it still would have been marketing. They still would have made a lot of money. It still would have been huge. I still would have enjoyed it. But now it's not for the championship, which honestly makes it better, and it's with Roman Reigns now being the OTC and The Rock being the final boss, and I think honestly it makes this match so much bigger and better with the character work. What about Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins? I mean, there is a story there to tell that some people think could possibly happen. I mean, we saw what Seth Rollins sacrificed at WrestleMania this year, literally gave his body to be the shield for the MVP stats of WrestleMania, and to be the shield to make sure he took away or helped be a part of taking away everything Roman Reigns had at WrestleMania. The bloodline, the title, the Ulafala, everything. And we saw Seth Rollins refusing to team up with Roman Reigns to be a part of the War Games match at Survivor Series 2. So we know the animosity and the beef is still there. Roman Reigns has even spoken about he's never forgave, Seth Rollins for destroying the Shield 10 years ago. It's been an entire decade, bro, and Roman Reigns still holds that grudge still to this day. So maybe Roman versus Seth is something that they're kind of teasing small for this to be the main event of WrestleMania. Hey, and now they're kind of teasing Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. What is this favor that CM Punk is going to get from Paul Heyman, or it's asking for Paul Heyman? We don't know yet. But CM Punk has said, whenever I need that favor, I'm coming to get that favor from you. What's the favor? Some people feel like it's going to be a main event match against Roman at WrestleMania. So, I mean, they're kind of teasing something there, and it honestly makes it very interesting. That's what I'm saying. WrestleMania 41 has so many freaking layers of so many different main events and avenues and directions it could go in. And this is one of them right here. This is a match that I think some people are iffy about, but this is what I personally could really see happening, and that is Cody Rhodes versus The Rock versus Roman Reigns in a triple threat match for the WWE title at WrestleMania. I could see Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. 10 years ago, he won the Royal Rumble in 2015. When it's, 2025 next year, it'll be 10 years. And I could see 10 years later in 2025, him winning the Royal Rumble again. And then The Rock being on the TKO board, I could see him inserting himself into this match just to abuse his power, to take away Roman's shine, to stop him from becoming champion again, because maybe he feels like he's not deserving of being Tribal Chief anymore after teaming with Cody. And then, of course, he wants to take Cody down. I could see a scenario where The Rock plays the selfish card, because a lot of people said he was still selfish. Even when we saw the documentary, they said he took too much credit for pivoting and everything in the storyline to let Cody finish his story. I could see a scenario where they're playing that now into the story, where The Rock is saying, screw everybody else. I don't care what everybody wants. This year, I'm going to do what I want. And I want this year for this triple threat to happen so I can take you down, Cody, and take your shine away, Roman, to take the title back into the bloodline, but in my terms. There's a lot of scenarios. I mean, I dropped a lot of scenarios right there. Maybe there's some other scenarios I didn't even talk about that you think could be the main event of WrestleMania next year. That's what honestly makes WrestleMania so exciting for next year, because there's so many up in the air unpredictability of what the main events could be. And that honestly think is something cool that we haven't had for in a long time. For the first time in how many years can you think about where you truly didn't know what the outcome of what the WrestleMania main event could really be for either night? If you have certain ideas of what you believe the WrestleMania main event is going to be that I didn't name, drop it in the comment section below. If you think there is going to be a WrestleMania main event that I named, let me know in the comment section below as well. And if you want to see more pro wrestling content on this channel, click the video right here. If you want to check out the No Name Wrestling Podcast, you can click the playlist right here. Check it out.